Hello, everybody. Happy Saturday. I'm recording this on Saturday, the 14th of June for the forecast that begins tomorrow, Sunday, June 15th through next Saturday, June 21st. Overarching themes, these are really powerful times, and there might be some challenges this week. I'll get to all the aspects, but really there's a sense of hope and peace and purpose that the cosmos is bringing us this week. So let's start off on Sunday the 15th. We have some squaring action. Mars and Leo is squaring Uranus and Taurus. And that's really going to help us remember that the actions that we take, especially right now, are powerful when they come from the heart. And heart-centered action is what is going to help us make changes in our world, make changes in our life. We also have Jupiter squaring Saturn on Sunday. I did a whole video on this. I'll link it in the notes here. In the video, I say the lid comes off. I think that's kind of nebulous to say, but Saturn squaring Jupiter might feel a little bit tense. But we have, as I mentioned in the YouTube video that I'll link, we also have Neptune in the mix. So we can rest assured that whatever is, and this is all cuspy, Sunday might be the day before or the day after. These energies are exact on these days, but they're operational for many of these things for a couple of days before and a couple of days after. So the exact square is on Sunday, and that might mean that we might feel some tension. But as we get through the week, I'll be able to show us with these astrological aspects that there's a bigger picture that's unfolding. So we get to trust the process and be present in the process. On Monday, the 16th, we have Mercury in Cancer, very active, semi-square, both Uranus and Taurus, and Mars in Leo. So this is helping us remember that our communication, both our 3D communication, our verbal communication, but also our 5D communication, our energetic, our telepathic communication, all the ways that we are being brought online now to really embody that we are the antennas that create this world, that co-create. So this is reminding us, this aspect on Monday is that it's good for our communications to be grounded as well as noble. Grounded and noble. And we're going to feel possibly just, from the inside that it's time to own that. It's time to do that. On Tuesday, the 17th, we have the sun in Gemini pretty active. There's two aspects the sun is making, and one is sun is sextiling Chiron in Aries, and then sun is also semi-square Venus in Taurus. So there might be a slight bit of the past that comes up. There might be a trigger or a challenge, but these aspects are reminding us to keep going with higher, nobler themes, heart-centered themes of balance and harmony and justice. Then we get to Wednesday, sun in Gemini is now biquintile Pluto in Aquarius, and that's going to remind us that our good fortune comes about by embracing this present moment that we are in. Our good fortune comes about by not necessarily clinging to the past or living out of fear, but by being in the process of transformation, being present in the process of being alive and being aware. We also have Jupiter in Cancer squaring Neptune. So I mentioned that, Jupiter in Cancer on Sunday squared Saturn in Aries. Now we have Jupiter in Cancer squaring Neptune in Aries, because Saturn and Neptune are snuggled up right now. So that tension that we might have felt, lid comes off kind of tension or pressure cooker kind of tension, around about middle of the week, Neptune's going to help us see the bigger picture and help us see maybe an intuitive way through from whatever information we were grappling with or experiences we were witnessing on Sunday. On Thursday, we have Mars in the sign of Virgo. Mars in Virgo, quincunx Saturn in Aries. And we also have Mars in Virgo on the next day, Friday, quincunx Neptune in Aries. Friday, we also have the sun semi-sextile Uranus. So I mentioned in a broadcast a couple weeks ago, Mars is not super comfortable in Virgo. But this doesn't mean just because it's not comfortable doesn't mean there's not something to work with here. And oftentimes, if we're willing to embrace periods of uh, things being less than comfortable or periods of transformation, um, they can be challenging yet very fruitful times. There's going to be these kind of uh, the idea here is Saturn and Neptune together in Aries, the idea of looking around the edges of our perception, not just looking at the thing that we're used to looking at all the time and it's declared as its truth. If we open up our perception, if you've ever done any kind of intuitive work, even if you haven't, the idea of the the periphery, there's a bigger picture besides just what we can focus on here. There's not only many perspectives, but look around the edges for the perception of truth, maybe even a new perception of what is true. And finally, we have a really sweet aspect on Saturday. And we're going to wrap up this upcoming week with Mercury in Cancer trining the North Node in Pisces. So this is going to invite us to really feel that it's time for us to share from our heart. It's time for us to share from our soul. It's time for us to really tap into that connection to source that we all potentially know is true, or that we all can tap into. And so there might be this sense of, what do we really want to express? What is the deeper truth, and to whom, or in what way do we want to express it? There's lots of different ways to express. Sending telepathic messages is a way to express. Writing a greeting card is a way to express. Composing music, doing art, doing something that just, there's so many ways. It's not just words. And the idea here is that when we express from our heart, when we express our soul truths, this is how we harness and own our power. There's this kind of sense of deeply rooted conviction and vulnerability, where we can open our hearts because we know we're deeply rooted and we know who we are and what we're about. So may you have such a blessed week. June is promising to be a truly transformational time. This week is no exception. Thanks for joining, and I look forward to seeing you guys next week. Take care.